the first way we win is you don't beat yourself. And I think that, not to discredit South Florida, but I think we contributed to their efforts quite a bit. We recapped that after the game. I think the red zone scoring early really caused us to lose the momentum. We had a chance to really take control of the game. I think that's an important lesson. Obviously, over 100 yards of penalties, which has to be addressed. And then the safety. I do think situationally you got to play a little bit better in 2-minute on defense. And then the transitions there in the second and third quarter got to be a little bit better. So there is a lot of good on the tape. I did think we moved the ball well at times, in particular in the first half. But missed opportunities, and not to, again, discredit South Florida. I thought their staff and their team did a really good job. They played extremely hard in the game and made some plays when they were presented there. So you guys know, much like I do and our team knows, that you got to turn the page, and that is physical, that's mental, and that is emotional. And I think it's really important. What are we going to do with the lessons that we learned, and what are we going to do with the emotions that we feel? And I think it's really important that our team channels that in the right direction. So when you get put in these situations, you have to do the next right thing, and you got to always make your decisions in the best interest of the team. And I think our football team and staff is prepared to do that. Still have a lot of confidence in this group. It's important to know. I do think that this group, when they do it right, it is fun to watch. And we need to do that more consistently going forward to put our team in position to win. LSU has a really good football team and a veteran quarterback, really unique skill on offense, dynamic returners, and a defense that's been retooled through the portal. Some younger players that are a year older, and obviously on tape here, just 2 games in, you can see there's a ton of talent there. So Coach Kelly has put together a good football team. We know that going on the road in this league is challenging. There's something about being a competitor and going into somebody else's house and it being you versus them. And I think we're building momentum towards that. We're excited about the challenge of playing this team. So we're focused on our improvement this week. Obviously, we've got a lot of things to clean up, but in general, I know you got a lot of questions, so we can get to it.
So the offensive line was supposed to be like kind of the strength of this offense potentially, right?
Right.
The other night, I think every position had a penalty against it. What do you feel like's going on up there? And LSU, looking at it, I mean, they're giving up less than 2 yards a carry right now, so the offensive line's obviously going to be a huge factor this week.
No, I thought they did a lot of good things in the game. Obviously, the penalties you'd like to have back, but the procedure penalties mainly. Okay, I can deal with a holding on occasion. I know we had 2 of those, but I think the procedure issues are the ones that you'd like to have back. But no, that group's done a lot of really good things as well. Can they do better? Absolutely. But we also rushed the ball effectively at times the other night, and I thought they did a nice job. So, look, I think offensive football is a game of precision. It's a rhythm, it's a synergy. And I think the issues you run into sometimes are when one player maybe isn't quite right and it costs you a play, right? So we're still finding ourselves there a little bit at times. We need more plays where we're going 11 for 11, and that's every position contributing to that, right? So, and I do think that ultimately has led to some of our inconsistencies. But there's also a lot of good football on the tape, a lot of bright spots on the tape.
Did you have a conversation with Brendan Betts, and how'd that go? And is he suspended? Is he available for this game? Will he make the trip? All those things? Yeah,
Brendan, we spent quite a bit of time with him yesterday. Look, I think that the kid is remorseful. I think he feels as if he let the team down. I do think he has, in general, It was out of character for him, and he made a mistake, and he compromised the team. He made a selfish decision. He misrepresented our fans, our alumni, the university, and when a young man comes into your office and that's his immediate concern is how he didn't represent this place the right way, I think that's a good indication of his attitude towards it. So there'll be some internal discipline. Obviously, he was suspended, and he'll have an opportunity today to apologize to the team, and he's going to apologize publicly. We're even having him reach out to the young man on the other team. So no stone unturned here in terms of maximizing this for him to learn, and also I think for our other players to see how to take ownership of a mistake, and go about this the right way. So.
You said obviously he was suspended. You mean ejected?
Yeah, he didn't play, right.
But he's not suspended for this game.
We haven't made that decision yet.
Billy, what did you see on the tape on the defensive substitution penalty, and does it make you reassess hurry-up situations, doing subs and so forth, or mass subs?
We did, and I think we did a good job throughout the game. That was the one. We had a young player who, when we do substitute, we tell the players to go straight off the field, in a straight line as fast as you can get out. And that player is a true freshman who kind of veered. He's running right off, and then he kind of veered to the side right at the end. And we're talking about a yard from being doing it the right way. So it's a teachable moment. Obviously, it's a technical thing that we need to clean up and help him with. And certainly this guy won't make that mistake again.
And I know you had a lot of high hopes for the edge rush room, and 2 games, 1 sack. You're facing, some dual threat quarterbacks, but is that too few, or how do you get to the quarterback a little bit more, coming up this weekend?
Yeah, you got to create opportunities. I think, you got to try to play well on first and second down, try to create advantageous D&Ds on second long, third and long. But yeah, I do think that how teams play you also contributes to that. The first team we played was a triple option team. And obviously I think South Florida did a nice job of managing third down. They played with tempo on third down. They kept third down manageable throughout the game. And ultimately I think that it's a 2-game sample size. So let's don't panic on the edge room just yet.
Building off of that, we got reports that LJ McCray underwent surgery today. Just curious if you had an update at all, or maybe an early timeline for return.
Yeah, LJ broke his foot in the game, and he's having surgery today. He'll be out for a chunk of time here.
And building off of that too, how big of an opportunity is this for Jaden Woods to maybe even make a bigger impact as a freshman?
Yeah, Jaden played 30 plays in the game Saturday. He'll be a rotational player. We got a lot of confidence in him, and he's a true freshman, so I think he'll get better each week. The more comfortable he gets on game day with the routine, how to prepare for a game. He's a mature kid, and he's certainly capable of making a difference on our team.
Based on what you said in practice, DJ had looked very good week 1, was on a mission last week. It hasn't seemed to translate completely to the games yet.
Yeah, I think it translated. I thought he made a lot of steps forward in the game Saturday. I think he's still getting comfortable. You guys can see that much like he can, and we can. So, but he did a lot of good things in the game. I think he's still getting in the rhythm. This was 3rd week of practice. You can see that, getting comfortable with some of these skilled players. And then, I think he's really close, to having a huge day. And so, he takes that personal, and he's an elite competitor. And the number one motivator for him is being able to execute and perform and do his job for his teammates. That's the thing I respect about the guys. When he doesn't get the result he wants on a play, his immediate feeling there is about letting the guys down. So highly motivated to continue to improve. But, yeah, he definitely did a lot of things better. But there's more. There's ceiling left there for him to improve. And look, we got to play better around him at times too. A little more precision across the board in the throw game. And then, you know, I think as a staff, we can help him as well.
So he checked to a pass on the first down play late. Do you reduce his ability to check to plays like that moving forward? I mean, he hasn't practiced a ton, right?
Well, yeah, he also checked quite a few others that went well, you know. So I think, look, we put the ball in his hands and we let him go play. You know, I think he makes a ton of decisions. He's got the keys to the car every week, you know, and I think, you know, we all praise him when he does it right, and you know, he gets criticized when maybe it doesn't go quite the right way. So it comes with the territory. He knows that, and so do you, and so do I.
Following on that, are you still the team's primary play caller?
Yes.
Moving forward? Okay.
Yes.
No thoughts of giving that up?
No.
Billy, on their touchdown play, you had guys looking to the sideline to get a play in. Against tempo teams, is that a problem?
Yeah, I think their offense is not set on that play. Their offensive line is not even in a stance. They got linemen moving around when they snap the ball, right? So they tried to go hurry up tempo on fourth down. It's 4th and 3, and their offensive line isn't even set when they snap the ball, right? So, you know, I think it's a gamble, right, to do that. One in which it paid off for them. We misjudged the ball. We were in position. We're playing cloud coverage. We did have the call, and we misjudged the ball, and their guy made a good adjustment to the ball and made a play on it. So we weren't lined up, but neither were they. And so I think it's a strategy that's used at times, and, you know, you're rolling the dice. You know, they're trying to get set as fast as they can and snap it. And it's all about substitutions, but, you know, those are ones that sometimes go your way and sometimes go their way. So we'll see what type of feedback we get on that play in particular.
Going back to DJ, he said that defense is so far trying to take the deep ball away from him. Mm-hmm. How important is it for him to start hitting that underneath stuff and learn to maybe kill him with paper cuts instead of trying to take a stab? Yeah, no, there's a few plays in the game Saturday where he can keep working through his progression. And then in general, I think that we got speed outside, right? In certain weeks, you know, they're going to be conservative and try to keep it in front of you. So, you know, I think part of that is design. We can help him. But he also knows he's got to help himself at times. So part of playing quarterback is taking what the defense gives you, you know, and eventually they'll give you the game. So, you know, you got the ball in your hands. You're the decision maker. And obviously he knows where he needs to improve. So, and he will improve. He's done it in the past. He's done it within both games. He just has to do it on a consistent basis. You guys submit the Hayden Hansen offensive pass interference call to the league?
We did, yeah. We did. We submit a series of plays each week, ones that maybe we want interpretation on. Sometimes we'll even turn in things that we think we got away with, right? I think it's a healthy working relationship with the league and the officials. Some you disagree with. Some you know you were wrong. They didn't get it. You know, you're trying to help the development of the – John does a good job with his teach tape every week that goes out. So, look, I think, you know, sometimes they make mistakes, no different than you make mistakes, I make mistakes. They got a tough job just like we do. So, you know, we'll see what they say. But I think I'm more focused on the things that we had total control of. Sometimes we don't have control of what they do, right? So, we made enough errors that we had control of, and that's my job.
You've been in this position last year somewhat in a hole early. What's the benefit? I know you don't want to be here, but is there one?
Well, I think it's all about how you respond to it, you know. I mean, I think it's all about you know, do we
take the lessons that we learned it's all about application. How do we channel this emotion? Do we have the maturity to turn it around? You're always turning it around physically. Okay, there's always a new set of information to study, game plan, personnel, all the variables, but there's certain emotions that come with getting beat, that can go both ways. So I'm anxious to see this group and how they're going to respond. But, and it's not just me, it's the organization as a whole. I think it's the leadership. And then for all the new players, there's got to be some examples set by veteran players. So far, so good. But you don't know until you play again,
You talked about sort of precision and communication and some of the errors on the offensive line Saturday. Is there something to just not having a lot of reps with DJ? Impacting kind of some of those communication precision errors because they rep with Trammell and
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah, Trammell is taking a lot of reps with that group. But yes, I do agree. I think it's a relevant point, and it's certainly part of it's when I always say to you guys, like sometimes it's all positions contribute to some of your issues, right? We see it as this position's problem, but in reality, we all know that other things contribute to that, right? So I think that's a healthy assumption you're making.
If Banks and Dallas Wilson are able to go, how confident are you that they'll be able to give you enough to make a difference?
Yeah, we'll see. We got work to do this week to see where they're at, what their work capacity is. Obviously you guys will have your first injury report of the year on Wednesday night. So that's always a good free layup article for you guys to write. So we'll let you do that.
On the running backs, Jaden Boss hit the ground running, but it seems like it's kind of been a struggle to get Jacoby going. Is that something you guys are looking at going forward? Maybe Jaden carries more of a workload just because of how much he's putting on.
Yeah, no, we'll continue to roll the backs. I mean, obviously, if guys got a hot hand, he gets a little more. But it's more big picture with the running backs. This league, I'm more concerned with who the three is, knowing that, if these guys continue to carry the ball and play on teams and protect, they're going to get banged up. So we got to work hard. That three battle with KD and Duke is the one I'm most concerned with. But Jacoby and Jaden will both be carrying the ball consistently.
Going back to Brendan Bett, we talked to him last week. He seemed like a great kid. DJ Lagway even mentioned after the press conference that's not a representation of who he is. Was that kind of a surprise from a kid that seems like such a great kid?
Yeah, it's a surprise to me for any player on our team to do that, and I think our players were surprised. So. And not happy about it, to be quite honest. So, look, it's important for these guys the game can teach you lessons, right? He lost his composure and his poise in a heated, this is a physical game. You're putting hands on people. It's a violent game. And that's one of his strengths. He's an alpha competitor. He's a physical, high motor kid. But sometimes your strength can become your weakness just like that, and I think that no different than, let's say 10 years from now, he's at a restaurant with his wife and kids and some guy says something to him that he doesn't like. Can he keep his composure and poise and make a decision in the long-term best interest of himself and his family, right? So hopefully this will be an opportunity for him to learn and all the other players to learn as well.
Tackling was also something that last year you guys made a big jump with improving, and Saturday was a bit of a struggle there. How much are you guys maybe?
Yeah, we missed, I think, 11 tackles, 2 pivotal, 2 that were critical. But I think those numbers reflect playing against good competition. I don't think the tackling was a major concern outside of those 2 plays in the game. There's always going to be, if you can keep it in the single digits, I think you did a good job. There's just 2 of those happen to create explosive plays at pivotal times in the game. And they're very fixable. It's angles, it's tracking, it's posture, it's stagger. And we have to work with the sideline. We have to work with the other defenders that are on the field. And oftentimes, those can make or break you. And there was two big ones in the game Saturday. So I think you're spot on. Those two plays were big.
Goes to the scramble by Brown and then the guy down the sideline.
The screen and the 2-minute drive, and then the run that broke the third, and I'm not quite sure. But, yeah, once the ball broke, contained, we got a guy in position to get him down. Look, every scoring possession that they had in the game, we had a chance to get off the field on 3rd or 4th down, right, every time they scored points in the game. Field goals, the touchdown. So that's one of the emphasis is you got to get off the field, and I think that we had 3 possessions in the first half on offense, right? They had the ball. We had long possessions, but they had the ball as well. So we got to score touchdowns when we get into the scoring area of the field. Okay, 21-6 is a lot different than 9-6. Okay, so there's a lesson to be learned here. You got to score touchdowns in the red zone in this league. After turnover margin and the explosive plays, it's red zone scoring, period. And our defense did a nice job of stopping them and forcing field goals, but we got to finish. We got a chance to make some plays when we get it down there, and we got to do that. So, I think we need to be better there going forward.
Really, just from a big picture perspective, I know you've said a lot of these things are fixable, and I'm sure you maybe have seen the sky is falling type reactions, but just your level of confidence that this program is closer than maybe a lot of people believe, and that a lot of these things are correctable. And
yeah, now look, this team, we have work to do in front of us, we got a lot of football ahead. So, I would expect nothing less, right? So it comes with the territory, okay? There's no scenario where you're not going to be criticized when you lose like that. So we understand that, I think that's part of it. So I think the key is that we take ownership. We don't make excuses. We're solution-oriented. We stick together, and we work on our plan to improve and get better in some of those areas. So we're going to find out. That's what I would say.
in your confidence that this program is going to continue blocking out the outside noise and just focus on the internal corrections, just being around these guys every day, how confident are you they're going to continue to do that?
Yeah, I don't have any doubt at all because I know that room. I know what's inside of each one of those guys. So, but we're all human, right? I do think it's part of the leadership challenges to get the group to stay focused on the right things, right? It's about making the next right decision, and you got to be able to move on, right? It's part of we had a setback, we got to move forward. If you don't, all of a sudden it lingers and it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and you wasted time, right? And the clock started yesterday. So we got to focus on the next plan.
One more offense question. The rhythm and the tempo of it, how would you just assess where that's at right now?
Yeah, I think we ran 71 plays in a game, something like that. I don't know that we had a delayed game. I think we're snapping it. It's more about the execution, the efficiency, red zone scoring. I think the second half, converting on third down. Look, we have to eliminate the penalties, right? We're playing from behind the sticks. If you look at each possession, it's either third down or it's a penalty that's causing a problem. So got to stack plays, consistency is important. And I think that lots of things contribute to that. But I feel like we're close there. I think there's good on the tape. There's a lot of positive things on the tape both weeks. And there's areas where we got to get better. Got to stack more plays. The first possession is a good example, right? You go 14 plays. You're in position to strike. You miss out on a few opportunities, penalty. Now you're behind the sticks, and you're in second and long, third and long, and then you settle for 3. So, and that's a win for the other team. on the scoreboard, but also from a momentum standpoint. So, and you give them hope, and they stay in the game, right? So you guys get it. You guys have been writing about this game for a long time. We got work to do to get better. Our fans know it. You guys know it. I know it. Our players know it. So we got to do better.
The lessons that you take from Saturday and applying them for the entire season. How about for you? What lesson will you take from Saturday that you can apply to this week that might make it different?
Yeah, technically, I would say I wish I had a few 12 personnel quick games in my pocket down the stretch there in the second half. That's a technical answer. Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to score a few more touchdowns in the first half. 21-6 is a lot different than 9-6. So, look, there's no going back, right? Okay, and I think the winning football is winning football. And I think that credit to South Florida, they did a little bit better than we did Saturday. And I don't want to take anything away from them because I think their kids played extremely hard. Their staff did a good job. And I respect the way they play football. So we got to focus on the Gators. It's time to move on to the next one.
Would you say, Billy, there's a sense of urgency in the building now that wasn't there last week after this loss?
Yeah, there's urgency in this building every day. And I would say when you're going to Baton Rouge to play, the number 3 team in the country, to go play, this is an incredible opportunity. And really a special experience to go play on the road in this league against a good team. So it's what you sign up for. It's why you come here. So we got to get ready for it.
Thanks, Coach.